Is Gotham Knights in trouble? Will I get through this story in under 10 minutes? Tune in and find out more on tonight's episode of I don't want to get copyright infringement here. Okay, guys, so we do have some interesting news coming out potentially regarding Gotham Knights, everybody's favorite not Batman game that we are either looking forward to with absolute love or hatred, at least according to the comments I've gotten. Now, here's the thing. Before we hop into this, I do want to point out we have a secondary channel, Degenerate Plays, which we are trying to grow quite a bit and get some more, engagement and people enjoying those videos over there. We play through games over there, Let's Play style and podcast style as well, talking about a lot of different things. So I hope to see you over there. Link is in the description down below. Now, here's the thing with Gotham Knights. We have gotten very, very little information about Gotham Knights recently and in total. I think that has definitely spurred on some of the rumor mill with Gotham Knights, and the new news regarding Warner Brothers games is not going to help really increase confidence in the brand or in this game in particular going forward. Here's the thing. Recently there was an internship advertisement role note that was actually made public. This is essentially where you can go in, you apply for a job, you get the job description. I guess if you were applying to be a job, what the hell am I talking about? Applying to be an intern at WB Games, you would see this when you're applying for that internship to be an intern. Now, this was actually spotted by Twitter user MaroNL. This was an advertisement on a jobs page for WB Games, and it said essentially that WB Interactive Entertainment is currently involved in a variety of new projects ranging from casual games to core games, featuring our well-known franchises on all platforms, console, digital, and mobile, with a heavy focus on live service. So a lot of people were immediately like, oh, no. Is this going to be a live service game? Is Gotham Knights in trouble going to be a live service game? Here's the thing. The reason I'm not making this about Suicide Squad is we know even less about that game. And because that is being heavily worked on by Rocksteady, I would expect there to be fewer concerns with that game just because it is Rocksteady. I mean, they've proven themselves quite a bit. WB Games, though, is a bit of a different story. A lot of people had mixed reception to Batman Arkham Origins. I personally love it. It's actually one of my favorites in the series, believe it or not, but a lot of people really didn't vibe with it. So here's the thing with this. Is this going to be a live service game? Does this spell disaster for Gotham Knights? I don't think so. I truly don't. And, well, Jay, where are you getting that from? Are you just pulling that out of your butt? No, I actually am not, believe it or not, because there actually were some questions answered with IGN about Gotham Knights. This was a while back, and I even talked about this interview quite a while ago. So, if you've forgotten about it, so did I until I saw it again. This was done on August 26th of 2020, or at least it was uploaded and updated by Joe Screbbles on IGN.com. I will link the link to this article in the description down below, where they actually went through and asked a bunch of different questions about Gotham Knights, and I've talked about some of these. Alex has talked about some of these. A lot of people in the community have. They went through things about if it's open world, and Patrick Redding had said it is one open world city right from the start, and no, there's no level gating whatsoever. They asked about enemy levels. They asked all this different kind of stuff, and when they actually got into is this games as a service, Fleur Marty, who obviously, WB Games, answered, this is very much not designed as a game as service. There is an ability tree which is different for each of the characters, and then there's gear that you craft, and so choices that you're going to be making, but that does not mean that this is a game as a service. So here's the thing with this. They went on to talk about other things as well, 2-player co-op maximum, self-contained story, all this different stuff in this interview, so it'll be interesting for you in the description down below if you want to check it out. I always personally, and I don't know this, I always personally believe these questions were vetted ahead of time by the game developers. I think that that's why they only give exclusive interviews with certain people and outlets and stuff like that. I could be wrong, could be completely wrong. I'm not a games journalist, nor do I ever plan to be. But They have gone on record and said before that this is not going to be a games as a service. However, the thing that's interesting is we did not get that same information about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. However, again, it's Rocksteady, so it's, I think, a little easier to give them the benefit of the doubt than it is for a lot of people with WB Games proper, or WB Games Montreal, or any of these other groups that are not Rocksteady that are now working with the DC characters. The thing with all of this that I kind of want to get to and then wrap it up, we're just going to hit this real quick, very short video today, is that while I don't believe this will be a games as a service because of how they answered this question in the interview, what they actually said, and they'd be caught totally in a lie, we've seen that before. We saw it with Arkham Knight being a totally original and new character. I know a lot of people point out, well, Arkham Knight is, but Jason wasn't. Yeah, I know. But I mean, it's just word salad. It's kind of being a lawyer about things, I think, and picking your words carefully, in my opinion, to not say something completely untrue, but kind of skirt the issue. It does seem like they just straight up said, though, this will not be a games as a service. However, on the wider scale, this is not a great move. We've seen recently a lot of problems with games as a service. Look, if you're certain games, you can pull this off. I think it's very disingenuous to say no one can pull off games as a service. I understand players don't love this idea. There are positives to it in terms of bringing more content to a game over time, keeping it alive, keeping a community alive, but a lot of those same things can be fulfilled through proper DLC, through just charging for a season pass or DLC, or as a lot of people would point out from old eras of gaming, just making the game complete and not having to sell anything on the side is really the perfect way to do it, but it's not profitable enough for a lot of these businesses, so they don't do that. You know, they develop DLC over time, they develop season passes, they develop cosmetic costumes that you can buy over time. There are some things that I would not be surprised if we saw over time in this game. A good example of that is actually in the Arkham games. I mean, really specifically, I'm thinking of Arkham Knight, but it wasn't the only one that did this. Arkham Knight had purchasable costumes, purchasable DLC race courses, the Season of Infamy, and it also had a season pass. But no one really called it a games as a service. However, a season pass is, in a way, I guess, a precursor to the games as a service model. It's the idea of introducing more content over time in order to make more money off of the consumer. Now, you can take this one of two ways. Wow, this is really neat. I'm getting more content I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Or, why wasn't this in the game? However you take that is definitely up to you. That's what I wouldn't be surprised if we saw. WB Games' flirtations with games as a service, though, have really had a lot of problems. The main one that comes to mind for me is Middle-earth: Shadow of War. This game was really beyond messed up at launch with all of its, I don't know, not pay to win really, but kind of pay to win-ish expectations and options in terms of building your army, abilities, all this other stuff. It really was a mess. They had to actually go in and remove it later, but of course it was late enough that I'm sure they made all their money off of it that they would have. This is an extremely profitable business model, but sometimes it's not at all. We saw that with Marvel's Avengers. We saw that this game so far, according to reports, has not even made back its release budget, let alone has it been profitable. And now they're planning to bring, free characters to the game as well, which, cool, that's great, but if you can't even become profitable and no one cares to play them, it doesn't matter. The problem with games as a service is that if it's done wrong, which it often is, you're just shooting yourself and your project in the foot and killing your game prematurely. And then you have a business practice that is designed to drag out your game's life cycle and keep it alive, actively burying it as it goes. I'm interested to know what you think in the comments down below. I truly do believe what they are saying about the not being a games as a service. However, I could see elements of that popping up. And honestly, the other problem is it could very well be that it's not meant to be a games as a service, but in their goal to not be sold off or not get in any trouble for not bringing in money, maybe WB Games is now pivoting even projects in the works to add some of those things in last minute. We don't know. All we know is the information we were given. I'm not super worried, but it's always concerning when this phrase comes up. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to check out the secondary channel, Degenerate Plays, where we play through a wide variety of video games, having a good time talking with you and each other. And hey, we've got a ton of social media: Instagram, Twitter, Discord. There's a lot of stuff out there. We appreciate you very much, and we appreciate you engaging with us on all those. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and as always, stay shway.